Booyah! Tippy time, my damies, and welcome to episode 25 of Reviewedly Interrupted with me, your host, Pootie Tang. Is this what smiles look like? Is this? I'm trying to be more positive and energetic. So, is this what a smile looks like? Because it kind of looks like I need to take a shit. So, I'm not sure if smiles are like needing to take a shit or not. This episode, Driller Killer. Whoa, love this movie. Where did I first see this movie? in this lovely set right here. 50 movies, classics, chilling classics. All like, how many fucking DVDs is it? It's a 12-disc set, double-sided DVDs. It comes in these little cases and everything. That's the first time I saw Driller Killer in this set. And I was like, whoa. And there's some pretty goofy movies in here. And, yeah, I mean, it's like Mill Creek. They were able to distribute it, but low quality. They didn't try to clean up the quality of a lot of the shits. And you can tell and everything. So I was glad that I got an All Regions player so I could upgrade to the Arrow fucking Blu-ray. And it looks fucking great in Blu-ray. And unfortunately, like, I put it in the notes that if you want to pick up the Blu-ray, it is a Region B or 2 or whatever in the fuck that, I don't know, it shows all the regions on there, but I think you need an All Regions player to watch this motherfucker, because it's like, I don't know, it says 0, so it might work, but I think you need an All Regions player, or like, I don't know if you can pick up a European player. I don't know what would be the point of that. You might as well get an All Regions to view this. But it's a very, very nice little set. It's got the Driller Killer feature, and then some bonus, and then it's got the DVD. So if you don't want to get All Regions Blu-ray player, you can get an All Regions DVD player, whatever. But you might as well get they're a lot cheaper now than they used to be. So I'm glad I picked one up, and you know, they're actually fairly cheap now. So you can, because Arrow, like, not all of them, but a lot of Arrow stuff, and it's different regions. Plus, it opens up to like different versions. Like one of the Cannibal Holocaust versions I got is a different region. The Burbs from Arrow is, you know, Region B2. You know, Europe and Society. There's a little handful I got, so it's like it really opened up to where like I can add more movies to my collection, and some good like high quality, lots of special features type BS. So yeah, I'm gonna go watch this again. I've seen this about a half dozen times. I really like it. It's very gritty. I mean, it takes place in New York. It's very New York, the vibe and everything. And I don't know, it's really cool to just see someone, you know, the societal pressures getting to someone who's like, oh, but he's kind of a dick. So it's like, you know, he's already kind of a dick. He's got a bad attitude, but then just the societal pressures upon that, and just a guy snapping and everything. And, you know, it takes place like, what is this, in the 70s? It's got to be in like late 70s, early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, probably. Let's say on here. Hold on. Just give me a minute. 1979. So yeah, you know, it's like, you know, it's a very period piece how New York and that section looked in 79. So it's like, it's kind of cool. It's like when you want to watch Dirty Harry, it's retro. It's of that time, the look and everything. And I don't know, it's just, this is really a classic. This is really absolutely a classic film. And yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it again. You know, be pretty cool. So I'm gonna go watch this, and I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna talk about all the awesome shit that happens in this movie, like this. Oh, to the dome, man, to the dome. It's just, it's a fun little horror movie, just because it's so different. You know, when they were kind of coming out with like, oh, different ways to murder people with different kinds of stuff. I mean, but I mean, even later on, you know, like more contemporary, like Jackhammer Massacre and all this other kind of stuff, you know. So the Driller Killer, the Driller Killer. All right, I'm gonna go watch this shit, and then I'm gonna talk about it for quite a while when I come back, because that's the format. Driller Killer, Driller Killer, Driller Killer, Driller Killer.
Today, just discovered. Be able to say goodbye.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Driller Killer, the Driller Killer, the. That scene right there that's in the movie, it's just so great. This movie, it's like, there's two different versions on here. There's the never before seen pre-release version and the theatrical cut. The never before seen theatrical, or the never before seen pre-release version is the one I watched, and it's a little longer, and it's like, I can't really tell, like I'd have to watch them back to back and be like, oh, okay, that's the part that got added, or that's the extended part, or whatever in the fuck, right? But I don't know. I feel like there's certain parts where I'm like, oh yeah, that is definitely not the one that I've seen. Like I don't really remember that part as well, so that must be one of the things. Man, my mustache is kind of going like a little wild in that area right there, isn't it? It's kind of got a mind of its own. I'm like, see your twin over there? Should I get the twin here? Let's just like totally fuck my mustache all the way up so it looks ridiculous, and let's just make the whole thing weird. There, now we made the whole thing weird. I don't want you staring at one side of my mouth. That'd be weird. Coffee. But yeah, like, I really like the cut, and I think even I want to say even the soundtrack, the music, as far as like, not, of course, not Tony Coca-Cola and the Roosters music. That is so fucking hilarious that they're just like, yeah, that's the name of the band and the leader of the band, Tony Coca-Cola and the Roosters. It's like, all right, whatever, man. And no, just the music in the background. Some of it's the same, but some of it seems a little different. And then I like how they play around with the music. It almost makes it more. It adds more to the ambiance of like the like struggling to survive New York late '70s bullshit, you know, or just adds to it. Just the weird little like keyboardy when it shows the bums and stuff. It's just it just got all these elements that are all crammed together that it's like the Driller Killer almost becomes like art. It almost becomes like an art film, you know? And I don't know, Abel Ferrara, either or, whatever. Ferrara, I'll say Ferrara. There's an A there. Maybe I'll get it right, maybe I won't. I don't know. Abel Ferrara, like, his films are really good. I've actually seen a handful. Some of them I didn't even know it was the same person. Like, what was that? Bad Lieutenant or whatever. Like the one with Harvey Keitel and Johnny Rotten, like in it and everything. Like I was like, oh man, it's just there's something gritty and something different he does. It's almost like you can see the same almost kind of vibe and style of like early Scorsese, you know, or it just has that grit where they're really trying to capture a certain essence of their city at that time, and they really do, you know. And I love the progression of this movie. This movie, it's like it could be just it was called Not a Slasher by someone I saw online. They were like, it's the Driller Killer. Oh no, it was a review. It was a review on Amazon. That's what it was. They were like, they were saying it wasn't a slasher, but it's like weird because this is one of those movies that plays like a slasher, but he's not using like sharp instruments and stuff. He's not stabbing, hacking, slicing, dicing. julienning fucking victims and shit. Okay, but it's almost still a part of like that slasher genre, where there might not be a sharp instrument being used, but it plays like a slasher, and it's almost like the redheaded stepkid of the slasher fucking genre, where it's like using different implements to like kill people that aren't sharp, you know. But like I do think of this as a fucking slasher, so I throw it in the slasher. And yeah, Bad Lieutenant says right on the back there. Like there was some other one I saw, and then I was like, oh, no way, that's actually pretty cool. But I want to get more of his movies because I really like his style. Like this movie, it had like let's look at the character, man. Let's look at Reno. Let's look at the character of Reno. This guy is a shitty guy. It's almost like you want to like be like, okay, well, he's like the main person in the story, even if he is going to be killing people. It's like almost like he's the main protagonist and antagonist at the same fucking time. He's not a cool dude. So it's like he's sitting there painting this fucking buffalo for like God knows how goddamn long, months or something. He's been painting this fucking buffalo, and he's such a perfectionist that even though it's like it looks done, he's like, oh, it's not done. It's like, what more do you need to do? But it's almost like he doesn't find his inspiration to finish it until he starts like murdering hobos with a power drill. Which, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, you know? Because sometimes it's like, I'm like, man, maybe I should go murder some hobos with a power tool to, like, gain some inspiration to finish all my unfinished projects. But then it's like, or I could take a nap. And so I nap instead. So you can, the hobos out there can thank my nap proneness. Say that 5 times fast. Nap proneness. For their being able to walk the streets safely from me. But yeah, he's not a good dude. He's like so wrapped up in his fucking self, and he's like living with these 2 women. One of them is basically like his cash cow. He treats her more like shit. The one that's actually like bringing money in, the one that's actually providing, because it makes him feel like shit that he's not doing it, so he treats her like shit. Straight up fucking just like abusive situation type bullshit, right? Where this guy, he's a total fucking like sociopath, you know? He straight up is. Where it's just basically like he'll sit there and just treat this woman like shit and then paint her some shitty little painting. I'm like, I'm sorry, please stay. Oh, you know how I get when I work. And then so she stays. It's like a totally abusive relationship. He's a total piece of shit, you know? And like the chick finally has enough and she leaves and goes back with her husband or whatever. And then like the ending of this movie is just fucking great. He kills the fucking husband with a power drill and then goes and waits in the bed under the covers, and then the lights go out and we know it's him and not the dead husband, but she doesn't. And then the movie just kind of ends with her being like, hey, are you okay? What are you doing? You know, and then just boom, not knowing. It's like anything could have happened. But it's like, it's very gritty, very grindhousey, you know, just the way it's shot. And it's like, you could tell it's like it was done pretty guerrilla style in some ways, you know. Yeah, watch the special features. I'll have to watch them again sometime. You know, it'd be cool to like watch it with the audio commentary, just to like listen to Abel fucking talk about his movie while it's going, because I don't know, that'd be pretty cool. I did watch like the interviews. I didn't finish watching Mulberry Street, Ferrara's feature-length 2010 documentary portrait of the New York location that has played a key role in his life and work. It's available on home video in the UK for the first time ever. It says UK because this is an Arrow video release. Arrow is based out of the UK, and they have some of the best fucking editions of movies you'll find. It's like basically Arrow and like Scream / Shout Factory and all that shit. those two are the main competitions for my money when it comes to these fucking editions, because both of those companies come out with some editions of shit with like, oh, not just like, oh, you know, fucking beautiful Blu-ray edition with like, you know, tons of these like Blu-ray extras, but also just like novelty shit. Like I know, what is it? Screen Factory does a lot of shit where it's like you can get a movie, a smaller scale movie poster extra, but you know they'll have like lots of stuff inside, like little lobby cards, or maybe it comes in a nice little box set with like, you know, a little book, just like extra little goofy shit that's like makes collectors like me lactate. I mean, it's like so cool that when I get a really cool set of something where I'm like, dude, this is so cool, and all the little extras, and it makes me giddy like a little kid. Just I'm like a lactation factory. I don't know, what do they call those? What do they call a lactation factory? I don't know. There's a word for that. What's that word? Oh, Jambi showed you the word? Jambi showed you the word? Okay, so if you hear the word, I want you to just stand up and scream, okay? So if you hear the word dairy, oh, did you do it? Dairy? Ah, there's two. Okay, that's enough of that. If you notice, I got a little more color. It's like I've been getting some sun because I've been trying to go from looking like Warsaw Jew to more like Palestinian Jew. You know, less pale, a little more color, a little more like, you know, going out for an honest day's work out and building the pyramids for Pharaoh type tan. You know, a nice base, a nice slave to the Pharaoh base tan is what I'm going for. So, but yeah, you know, this movie is just really good. And, you know, stumbling across it in a cheap set where it was a poor transfer onto DVD where they really didn't try to clean it up. Really good, clean, quality, high definition. Like, it looks really good. And it's one of those movies that the more you watch it, like if you just watch it as a straight, like, oh, okay, this is going to be like, you know, a kind of a slasher, grindhousey, whatever. Yes, and it totally plays like that. But if you really watch the building of the characters, and even like the one that plays like Baby, is that her name? Yeah, Baby or something like that, right? Like, she doesn't really have too much of an arc, but we kind of like, the more you watch it and like you see the interplay, you kind of get more of a feel for the characters and like maybe who they are and everything. Like, why does she stick around? Why is she there? Because she comes across as quite the ditzy dumbass, you know? Like, I wouldn't say innocent, but just kind of like very derpy. Like, not the sharpest tool in the shed, but she's got some sense. Like, you know, maybe some New York street sense, but she's not like real smart. But like, you get to like, why is she there? And then you kind of see it that it's like she's very codependent on these people because she doesn't have friends. And so these people are the people that took her in and stayed with her and hung out with her and made her a part of their own little fucked up family there in their apartment, you know? So it's like, even like the more you pay attention to characters, it kind of brings the characters out. It's like, okay, and just watching his build, watching Reno's build, you know, just like the pressure of society, of him being this perfectionist, not being able to like pay bills and actually contribute. You know, even when he's bitching about the bills and everything else, it's like, well, what are you doing, dude? You're bitching at her for making phone calls that she's paying for because she's the one bringing the money in, you know? That insecurity is very insecure. But he also tries to be real tough and macho and controlling and stuff. You know, just a lot of sociopathy there. And then his build is, it's like, it wears on him and it drags on him. The more and more the pressure, the more and more, you know. But then he finds this release in running out and killing bums and shit with a power drill, you know? Just like, all of his anger and pent-up frustration makes him into this power drill serial killer, you know, and then finally when he finally snaps and he's like over the edge, you know, it's like, actually a very good, very well done character. The first time I watched it, I was just kind of like, oh yeah, you know, he's really annoying because he's always yelling and just angry and he's kind of a dickhead. But then you watch his arc and it's like, yes, at the base, that is him. He is not a cool guy. Reno is not cool. Maybe at one point in time, because, I mean, he's got people hanging out with him. He had to have been somewhat cool, but we are coming into Reno's life at a point in time when he's pretty much a big shithead, you know? Like, but the build. It almost reminds me of like Combat Shock. You know, two very vastly different movies, right? But like the build of just like trying and failing and trying and not making it, and the pressures, you know, like trying to get paid for work, you know, like it's kind of both of them. You know, both of those movies kind of roll with that, except one is trying to find work and can't find it. One is doing some kind of work but can't sell his fucking big buffalo painting, you know, to the pressures, you know, and the stressors of home life. You know, what's going on at home. You know, I feel like they're kind of, you know, they kind of have the same vibe and everything, although it's like two vastly different fucking movies, right? Coffee. I love my coffee. I have my coffee. Yeah, actually, I'm acting. Just coffee. So yeah, it's like the more I watch this movie, the more I like it. The more I'm like, there's a reason I've been like a fan of Driller Killer, even before I knew it was like actually like a pretty decently well-known fucking grindhousey movie from back in the day. I like in that cheap ass set I think I showed earlier, like, you know, coming across it and just Driller Killer and just watching it being like really, you know, like I said, not the best quality, but just being like, yeah, this movie's fucking tight. And then coming to find out like later, it's like a lot of people are like fans of this movie that like it, that it's actually a kind of like a fucking cult classic, if not just a classic of the horror genre. I think some of these cult classics that might have been cult classics at one point in time have actually elevated themselves into being classics of the horror genre. Where Driller Killer, maybe in the VHS era, maybe later in the 90s, and shit like that, a little later on, when it was maybe tough to find in the VHS era, I could see it being more of a cult classic. But now it's sitting here on Arrow's fucking Blu-ray set. I would say it's been elevated, especially knowing how many people know this movie, you know, that I found out. I would say this is just a straight up classic of the genre now. Okay? It's gone from being cult classic to being absolute classic. Now, really quickly, we have a holiday coming up. I don't know if you've all heard about this, you know, but we have the 4th of July coming up, like, very soon. And so I'm going to do a special little holiday, 4th of July holiday edition. And I was like, man, what would be the perfect motherfucking movie to do for the 4th of July, first 4th of July episode of this? And you know what I came up with? You know what I came up with? Abso-fucking-lutely nothing. I could think of fucking nothing. But my wonderful technical support team for the show was like, Team America. And I was like, fuck yes. So, for my first 4th of July episode, Team America World Police, what better way to celebrate the 4th of July than with Team motherfucking America? Yes, fuck yes. Love this movie. I love this fucking movie. It's great. So that's what I'm going to be doing for my special 4th of July episode. And I do have one picked out for my next episode, and I'll talk about that when I do this. You know how I do it. I'm not going to talk about the one after this, the next one. That's stupid. I'll get to that later. I got time. But yeah, Driller Killer, man. It's like if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Especially if you're already a fan of, but haven't seen it for some reason, like that era of like grindhousey horror. I mean, I don't know how you could, but if I would say people that are newer to the horror genre and really like, you know, starting to get their feet wet and want to like really love horror and want to see a lot more horror, like this is definitely should be on your list somewhere to see. And this, like, if you dig the movie, like, if you stumble across it cheap, maybe watch it on Tubi, maybe watch it on, I think it actually is on Tubi. Watch it on Tubi, maybe, like, if you can find it on YouTube, whatever. If you want to watch it cheap first and you're really a fan, and you say, yes, this movie is actually really good, definitely get this Arrow Video fucking Blu-ray set. And, like, the fact that you get the theatrical version, the version that you're likely to see fucking anywhere and everywhere, along with the, like, never before seen pre-release version, which there's something about it that, like, I don't know. It seems a little bit, there's something a little more to it. Like I said, it's a little longer. So there's more, I don't know what it is. Like I said, I got to watch them both. like back to back and really be like, okay, that. But you get a fuller feeling from it. So, yeah, Driller Killer, man, really fucking awesome movie, and I highly recommend it. I recommend it to everyone out there who want to watch a horror with Driller Killer. I may have had a mini stroke. I can't tell. Mini stroke, what is that, like when a midget jacks off? No, maybe. I gotta Google it. Don't Google midgets jacking off. Don't do it. I didn't get sleep for 3 nights. 3 nights. I had to check under my bed constantly. I was freaking out. Once you see like a group of masturbating midgets, yeah, that open door to that dark closet never looks the same. Ever. But, yeah, so, I think by now I've definitely signed your pity on the runny kind. So, I'll see you, for my 4th of July vid, everyone. So, Wadata, Kappa Chow. This has been Reviewedly Interrupted with me, your host, Pootie Tang. Or should I call myself Pootie Tan? Maybe I'll call myself Pootie Tan once I really get really tan. Be like, God damn, look at that guy, he's so goddamn bronze. It's like they took that motherfucker and they just dipped his skinny ass in bronze, and now he's a bronze guy. He's bronze. Yeah, I'm gonna get a nice bronze. LeBron's James. I don't think he can bronze though. Would he have to get lighten up? Would he have to like stay out of the sun for a bit to bronze? Is that how it works? I think to get the bronze, because it's like the bronze would be in the middle. So I'd have to get a lot more sun to get to the bronze, and you'd have to have a lot less sun to get to the bronze. What if everybody was bronze colored? That'd be dumb, dude. That'd be weird if everybody was like one color. I don't think I'd like it. I don't think I'd like it at all. There'd be something very fucking weird and off about it. So maybe I should stay a little bit away from bronze. What's in between bronze and pale as shit? What's that color? Flesh? Yeah, I just want a decent flesh tone to my body. If I could get a decent flesh tone to my flesh, that would be perfect. All right, that's enough of this bullshit. All right, until next time. Tippy time, my damies. Drill out, kill out.